So I'm Vethathirri. So I'm joining from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. So I'm doing my postdoctoral research fellow now. So previously, I did my Ph.D. In the field of microbial biotechnology in NTU. Then just before I came into NTU Singapore, I did my bachelor's and master's in India from IIT Madras. So it's been a while. The time I shifted from home. My native is Neyveli. Then I went to Chennai for studying for IIT, then came into IIT Madras. Then after 5 to 7 years in Chennai, then came into a different ecosystem of Singapore. Now I'm living in Singapore with my family. So I have twin daughters. They're like 2 years old, and my wife is staying also with me. So now I'll just focus on the topic for now because it's going to be a very slightly different topic. But I try my level best to connect how the microbial intelligence, because my core expertise is microbial technologies. Then I try to see whether we can have some in terms of whether we can do some collaboration like matching with microbial intelligence, then how we can integrate principles of Vethathirri Maharishi with the modern all AI and all deep tech technologies, and whether all these can contribute to the one single aspiration of many yogic masters, which is universal harmony, like peace, and ultimately the enlightenment of all beings. Okay, so just moving forward. So I would like to share a picture to everyone. So I see like 18 participants. Because since we don't have many, it's not an in-person, right? So it is actually online. So I will try to make it as much like interactive. So you can see a picture. This is a picture taken in 2019. So this was my time when I entered Singapore. So you can see me in the middle of this picture. The picture is quite blurry because that was the first time I asked someone to take a picture for me. And it was also the first time I was handling new people. So I was organizing an event for new graduate students who came to Singapore from different countries like China, from India, all neighboring countries. And it's a very, I would say it's a butterfly moment you can realize, because you have to face all the people, and we have to organize a structured event for 2 hours, and but still I was like succeeding. And this was like taken very recently in 2025 in December. And you can see still I'm like organizing an event. But this time, as the picture is more clear, my vision is also more clear. So because I was organizing this for very industrial professionals who are in the field of biotechnology, who are also having a lot of companies, and they're from established startups. So from organizing an event for students, I moved on to organizing an event for industry professionals. So this is the transition that took over a time. But the question is, I would like to ask each one of you. You can also ask me maybe during the Q&A. What was something driving me to go for all of these, I would say, challenging events? It wasn't easy when I was to face the crowd. Whenever I stand in front of the crowd, I always think, okay, this is the crowd for me. Then I was thinking, what was something driving me? Because you can see I was transitioning from Neyveli and all the way to Singapore, and there is something acting behind the screen. That is what I would like to pitch upon today. So just to give you like the overview of what's happening for today's agenda, I would start off with what is the overall view of consciousness, Maharishi's principles. Then I would bring in the microbial aspects, microbial biotechnologies into the screen. Then I would see how we can have a collaboration in terms of artificial intelligence. And finally, the most important thing is how spirituality, how microbial biotechnologies, and as well as the universal peace can all form like a triangle, can complement each other. So first and foremost, the first question is, we had a very beautiful introduction as well as a meditation session conducted. How many of you actually felt the presence of Maharishi. So I can actually see the grid video. So you can give me a thumbs up, maybe using the reaction, or you can also unmute yourself and just say yes. நீங்க உண்மையாவே actually எல்லாருமே ஃபீல் பண்ணியிருந்தீங்கன்னா நீங்க வந்து just unmute பண்ணி நீங்களே சொல்லலாம். So நான் பேசுறது வந்து எவ்வளவு பேர் கேட்டுட்டு இருக்கீங்கன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும்.
Yes, sir, yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful, wonderful, Dr. Ananda. Thank you so much. So இப்போ நம்ம வந்து so when we had the meditation session, actually Maharishi was present. Thank you so much, Sambat sir. Thank you so much. So we had like the feeling Maharishi was around. பட் ஆக்சுவலா நம்மளால எப்படி வந்து இதை வந்து ஒரு லே மேனுக்கு எப்படி வந்து நம்ம வந்து இதை வந்து ப்ரூவ் பண்றது? How do you actually prove it? So we need like a structured, like a synopsis, or you need a methodology to take it forward. கரெக்ட்டுங்களா? So my hypothesis or my research experience overall, we have a common link. Even though my name is Vethathirri and you have your own name is like Sambat, Ananda, Karthikeyan, different people, different names, but we have a common thing which is like guiding through. Apart from the life force, apart from the universal consciousness, we also have microorganisms. So that is like a common link which can actually bind people, that can bring people, different people together. So first and foremost, we have this universal thing of Maharishi's consciousness, definition of consciousness. As it is like unified, we also have the microorganisms that can actually adapt, that can actually survive in different conditions. We come from different backgrounds, but still we have the core microorganisms that is guiding through all the way from the birth until the death. And actually beyond, some people say also have like beyond. So in the continuity வந்து பாத்தீங்கன்னா, it's actually like a throughout the lifespan, we have the microorganisms subtle, in a very subtle way, they are traveling with us. So overall, if you see the modern technologies like AI or any other deep tech technologies எடுத்தாலுமே, their core model பாத்தீங்கன்னா, they need some data. They need some artificially trained data set. And how do we match our old yogic principles along with the just mentioned microorganisms together? So that is a very complex, at the same time, very useful topic to take it forward. And finally, நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா microorganisms ஒரு proxy-ஆ நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணிக்கலாம். We can actually use it as like a bridge to explain people like what actually happens when you meditate, when you actually start the session with a well-grounded, well-motivated, like ஒரு meditation session மூலியமா நம்ம வந்து ஸ்டார்ட் பண்றோம். Without the session, we also start how everything changes. So each and every one is like listening. Our microorganisms in our own system, they are also like behaving in a different way. So let me take you to the next further step. So when I say microbial organisms, they can actually survive under different conditions. But பாத்தீங்கன்னா, they can actually detect different chemicals. ஒரு microorganism மாதிரி இன்னொரு microorganisms எப்பயுமே இருக்காது.
Excuse me, what is microorganism? Sorry.
Okay, thanks. Okay, thank you so much. So இப்போ பாத்தீங்கன்னா, we have like different organisms. So உங்களுக்கு வந்து இப்போ நம்ம we are all one different organism. நம்ம வந்து in a sense.
Can you speak in English? We have English participants here. Sorry.
Okay, so I will just like continue in English. Will that be okay?
Sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
no problem, no problem. So just to summarize like whatever I spoke. So my talk is on microorganisms, how they can act as a bridge between principles of Maharishi and how do we actually take it to the recent all advancements like artificial intelligence. So coming back to the question, like what is a microorganism? So microbes or microorganisms, it's a very vast name given to like bacteria. For example, we all have like, we know like, for example, some people get like viral infection. If virus, it also comes under microorganism. Some bacteria, it also comes under microorganism. So microorganism in general, they represent all the basis for the names like bacteria, prokaryotes. So all of these are different things. So these are something which you cannot see with your naked eye. So you need like different advancements, right? So for example, you eat like food or something, right? So when it gets into a system, you need some players to decompose them. So they live on like carbon source. They need like oxygen. They can also survive under light conditions and different temperature conditions. So you can just imagine as like a microcosm level, like at the microscopic level, if you zoom yourself in, right, it is like a very smaller organism. Is that answer your question, sir? I'm not
Yeah,
sure which.
is it also is the virus also included as considered
Yes,
as a microorganism? Okay.
yes. So in general, microbes like everything comprises of all the microorganisms, including the virus and everything. Yes.
Sure, thank you.
So when I say microbial behaviors, they also like detect. For example, they survive under different chemicals. They come and go on different temperatures, and they also communicate with each other. They can actually do like a communication, just like the way humans communicate with each other. They also use like quorum sensing as a medium to communicate with each other. At the same time, they are also resilient to survive under different conditions. Just like few animals, they survive under extreme conditions. They also can survive under extreme conditions like high temperature, high pressure, and high intense other salinity conditions also. Okay, so just coming back to our Maharishi's life course consciousness, as you can see, the consciousness, right? It is like everywhere. You cannot actually segregate, or you can actually not separate just one like without the consciousness. There is still like debate going on in the scientific community whether it is there even in microbes, right? But as a practitioner of Maharishi's meditation, you know it's like present everywhere, including the microorganisms. So the overall theory here is microbes can be a very immediate step to test all different enlightening practices into the system. So microbes, they also tell us like how a system actually survive in terms of balancing as well as survival. Most of the principles of Maharishi, it actually resonates with microbes. So just to give you one more factual information, more than if you see, right, our overall system, like a human system, it contributes nearly like 98%, like more than 90% of the system, we have like microbes in place. So just like I previously mentioned, when you eat any food, you always have like set of microbes, they love that food. At the same time, there are like set of microbes who ate that food. They don't like that food. But still, it just like a processing over a period of time in the own gut system. So it's always like very interesting when you actually see these microbes using advanced technologies. So we have like technologies now to see like what kind of microbes we have at the system level. Like for example, we have like different classification of microbes, but just to give you like a picturized way, just like the way you see in the system, right? You have like oral microbes in the mouth. You have some microbes sitting on the skin, right? These microbes, they will change. Let's say you travel from a very windy place to a very different dry place, right? These microbes, that they can change. Some people say you are actually your mood, your like your happiness, your way you behave. For example, some are morning persons, some are like night persons. So when you have your own schedule, these microbes, they change. So that's like the power of microbes. So we don't know whether the microbes are driving you or you are driving the microbes. And that's why we have this intelligence concept from like consciousness, whether that can guide through all of these complex questions. Okay, just to take you to the next screen where you will see a different experience, because this is, I want to say like what is my own experience from my own research. So in my own research, I work in the field of like food processing wastewaters. So these you can just imagine like a food industry. So there are different types of food industries. So my research focuses on using the wastewater. So this wastewater is generated by soaking of soya beans in the normal water. So they wash these soya beans and we generate like wastewater. So my research focuses on how we can transform these wastewaters into useful protein. So for these biotransformation, I use microbes as my core criteria. They drive this overall bioconversion. So at the end of this bioconversion, the wastewater is generated can be converted into microbial protein. So what is this microbial protein? This is the protein you actually see in the bacteria, which is a good protein. Okay. We also have like good bacteria, bad bacteria. But for my research, I focuses on good bacteria. So this overall good bacteria is cultivated over a period of time. So I use like bioreactors. We have different kinds of bioreactors. And I also use like technologies to measure like what is the accurate protein in that bacteria and whether that protein can be used for fish feed applications. Like we have aquaculture applications. We also have other animal feed applications. So for this, it was like very interesting how microbes can actually do this transformation from just waste to something very useful. So just I would like to take you to the next area where we use artificial intelligence. But just to give you some context, like
I ask
where we
a
are.
question.
Yes, go ahead.
Andreas, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, go ahead.
So it is impossible to create protein from nothing. So in that water, which is like a wastewater after washing the soda, it like carbohydrate molecules, which the microbes are acting on to convert the carbohydrate to protein. It should not happen, or it will never happen if it is pure water. So something is there. So how this mechanism works? What is the waste material as such? Is it something like a form of carbohydrate which might change to protein?
Okay. Thank you so much for your question, sir. So the wastewater, right, as you rightly said, it won't happen in pure water. So this one is a wastewater which contains of carbon sources. It's also like nitrogen sources. So these forms the basis for the microbes to grow. So when you grow the bacteria, right, when you grow the microbes, they also accumulate the whole protein. They also have carbohydrates. They also have other intracellular components like lipids, fatty acids. So we are focusing on the protein part, which can be harvested for biotechnological application.
Okay, thank you. When you use protein in, say, for example, fish tank for the fish, is there any difference in the growth of the fish or livelihood of the fish when we use these kind of microbial protein compared to a group of fish grown with live worms and live feed?
Yes, yes. So we also have those tested runs. So the way actually their gut microbes, right? For example, their survival, we can measure those differences in the way the fishes actually grow. When we test those proteins, it's very different. So we can see their survival rate is like increasing because when we use these kinds of bioconversion, right, the protein you give to the fish, that protein is very well defined. They have microbes which can actually increase the longevity or the mortality rate of the fish.
Yeah,
So there is a
thank you.
yes, thank you. Thanks. Okay, thanks for the question. Okay, so moving forward. Okay, so this is, I would like to say like how we can actually bring in the power of AI, right? Because I know some of you are experts in AI, but we also have to see like what it can do massively and what it can do for the microbial biotechnologies. So later I will try to connect how it can actually elevate all our understanding in terms of recent hypothesis, right? So overall, the power of AI, it can do like massive data. It can do like a lot of pattern recognitions, a lot of text, a lot of images. At the same time, it is like a mastery over the complex data. So it sets the basis for something which you won't even imagine. Like it can just bring in something which you haven't thought of, right? So it can also do like repetitive tasks at the same time, the precision, speed. So all of these is like excellent from in terms of artificial intelligence. Okay, so now how it can actually give some importance for our microbial systems. So in terms of identifying what specific drugs or for example, what kind of media or what kind of like growth system we can use for the microbes to grow, because some of these microorganisms, they actually live in natural environments. We don't know whether we can cultivate in our lab. So they always have like a challenge whether we can actually exercise those useful microorganisms that actually live in a real ecosystem and how to actually bring them over to the lab and whether we can actually use it for different purposes, industrial applications, for example, like waste degradation or any other fermentation techniques. As I was saying, in my own example, I was doing proteins, but we can also use these AI systems to have some automation process. If you have an automation process, so you don't have to involve like actual, for example, engineer or scientist, right? They can actually be at the back screen and everything can be optimized because the overall challenge for these biotechnological applications is like a productivity yield. So artificial intelligence can do these massive things. But again, the question back to you is where is the principles of Maharishi can be integrated in this overall system, right? So for that, I would like to see here. So sitting at this slide is mostly is taking what AI cannot do. I was telling about all the positive things of artificial intelligence. Yes, we need to acknowledge everything, but still, we have to say it cannot do, which is the state of Maharishi, right? When I say the state of Maharishi, I'm just referring to the consciousness, the way you experience actual field. So that is cannot be given to the AI. And also, when I say reasoning, when I say learning, all of these, for example, it cannot have like a memory system, like a lifelong memory, right? And you also carry like imprints. And for example, some people would have experienced, like when you think of someone, they actually call you. So we don't know whether it's like intuition or whether you are in the same field, right? So all of those miraculous part, AI cannot do. And whether it can supplement our microbial systems, it's still in the research field. Most importantly, when you say self-awareness, right? Because when I was saying we started all of these sessions with like a motivation, or we came into a common field of Maharishi's meditative field, right? So all of these things, whether AI can do, yes, we can actually set the basis, but there should be someone, for example, we have a beautiful introduction from our one of our participants, right? So everything is excellent. So this one AI is still in the process of learning, right? So all of these is available as like a material. For example, whatever AI cannot do, but Maharishi's principles is still there. So how do we link these to something at the very different edges? Because artificial intelligence is like artificial, right? And state of Maharishi or Vethathirri principles is like core, like happening now. It's like a natural intelligence. It's like a flow. So when I speak, all of the words you are listening and you are processing it using your own knowledge, right? So all of these transactions and everything, how do we actually map? Whether we can bring in microbes. So my overall suggestion or overall discussion for today is whether microorganisms, they can do some play between two people, and two people, they practice or don't practice like Maharishi principles, but they all live in the field of like artificial intelligence, right? At the same time, they also live in the field of natural consciousness or the overall intelligence. Next, one key question I would like to pose to you is like, what is your big picture goal, right? So because when I ask this question, people often think, okay, this is something not related to my field, or you may be working in the field of like a mechanical like development, or you can also be like working in like a software side, people working, let's say, in industries like food industries. People come from different backgrounds, but still everyone longs for few core things. If you can map, there are only few core things everyone actually long for. One is they want to have like a lot of like wealth, right? They want to have like wealth, they want to live longer, they want to have like a peaceful life with their loved ones, right? So everything is like very common. So my overall question to you is, when you have a lot of common things, right? Are we actually different? The answer is no, because everything in the same consciousness, right? So when you see a different people, but we all belong to the same field, but how do we actually map it to the real life artificial intelligence? So for that, microbes can actually map it, because when I say there is some change happening, do you have the same change happening within you? So the microbes actually get the data. So you can just think of microbes as like artificial intelligence platform, but it is mostly activating from the natural intelligence when people actually feel it, right? So other big question is, let's say we have like 18 participants in today's meeting. Can you make it 180, like 10 times more in the next 1 month? You can just type in the chat, yes, if it is possible. You can just type no in the chat if it is not possible, right? Can I have that maybe in the chat? Or you can also unmute yourself and just say it's not possible or it's possible. So the question again to you is, we have like 18 participants in today's meeting. How many of you think we can actually make it like 180 in the next 1 month?
If you don't mind, I will go
Yes.
on to ask a question, why we have to make it to 180?
Excellent question, sir. Excellent question. I will answer that very shortly, sir.
I will give my view. The thing
Sure,
is
go ahead.
like our aim is not to make the 18 to 20, 18 to 180. Our
Okay.
aim is to do the best possible presentation and discussion. That's it.
Okay.
Buck stops there. Microbe starts there.
Okay. Okay.
Whether it
Okay.
becomes 180 or 1800 is absolutely none of our business.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your comment as well as for your question, sir. So I will just like answer that. Maybe I will add my comment after just looking at the answers. Okay. So one of them says yes, it's possible. So one of them says it's like doubtful. One of them says no, it's not even possible. And maybe like one more S from one more participant, right? And just from the way like one of you actually asked, sorry, I didn't get your name, but one of you said it's none of the business, right? It's not even part of our goal. We just have to present and we just have to involve in the discussion. Okay, so the objective of this question is, we see like different answers from different people, right? It's not even the same. One of them says yes, one of them says no. So what is it something within you which is actually answering these different answers? Maybe one of you can just unmute and say, like, why are the answers different?
My answer is based on past experience, how we've been. So it's definitive no for me, given the past experience.
Okay, okay. So your answer is no, is it, Scott?
Yes, I'm Tarun. Yeah, Sky NJ Meditation. Yeah, yeah. My answer is no.
Okay, excellent, sir. Excellent, sir. So this is like based on your past experience, you have a no answer. Excellent. And maybe
Absolutely.
like, okay, very good, sir. So, and maybe I think one of you who just said, like we don't have to think of 180 or we don't have to think of those numbers, sir. So maybe you can also unmute and just say like, why did you actually think it's none of the business?
The reason why I said it's none of our business is any sect or the group which took this as a business suffered, because the aim of spreading the correct knowledge, the aim of spreading peace is lost. The aim of spreading that particular sect or belief groups kind of stamp or the signature as widespread. We can do wonderful job as a Christian or as an Islamic, as a Buddhist or anything. So these kind of stamps are man-made, quite artificial. Microbes don't have that. So we should go to the level of microbes have a unison in thinking, and the aim is to spread the peace and a kind of goodness, deliver
Okay.
it, and
Okay.
let the microbes and the universal consciousness to lead it the show. It's not our job to make sure it is spreading correctly. Our job is to make sure that this particular knowledge is good enough to spread. That is the main job. Once it is good enough, the consciousness will do its work.
Awesome, sir. Can I just understand like whether this answer from you is it based on your previous experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in Vedantrim for more than 25 years. I walked the talk, and it's absolutely my experience. We have Sky Yoga presence in UK. I'm from England, and
Right.
we don't have a very big numbers, membership, etc. But those who are practicing, they really have a blissful life. One person with a blissful life is much better needed for the world compared to 1,000 people with a quarter of with a 10% or 5% interest, but toiling the rest of the 90%.
Excellent, excellent, sir. Thank you so, thank you so much, sir. So just to sum up, like we have like two people, so who said it's not possible, and they said it's based on their previous experience. And we just have like a wonderful person who just said it's none of the business. And we in a way, in a very positive way, like we just have to have this intense discussion, and the microbes universal consciousness can drive this. The answer is again based on previous experience, right? So you can just have a common thread. Both of them, it's based on the previous experience. So even though you see like different answers, people always share based on the previous experience, right? Right? Correct? So my question again is when you say something on your previous experience, whether the consciousness is still acting through you, that's a question. Because we carry like a lot of different wonderful things from the past. So for example, I still do not know when I started saying Arut Cup, right? So we always have this wonderful series of practices and everything. I don't remember when I started saying, but it does tremendous things. When you have like a challenging situation in your own life, when you have something challenging with your own family, when you say like Arutpe Ratal, right? Arutpe Ratal, then it just started flowing, correct? So, but I also understand when you have like wonderful experiences from your past, when you have some bitter experiences from your past, both of them will do like a similar thing. For example, you will just take from your own data, right? Correct. So, but can you access like new data from the universal field, like right now? Like just leaving all of your previous experiences. How many of you think it's possible? Like leaving all your previous experiences, can you just be like a blank check? If you think, can you be like a blank check? You can just type S in the comment, or you can also unmute yourself. When I say blank check, it's like no data, right? No previous experiences. Okay, I see like yes. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, I see like a question mark. So maybe like you need me to ask the question again. Okay, cool. So we all carry like a data from the previous experiences, right? For example, you have some wonderful experiences with Maharishi or the practices of Maharishi, or maybe you also have some struggles from the past from your own profession, or it can also be from your own family, right? So, but how many of you think you can just drop those experiences? When I say drop, you can just like untangle, or you can just like leave them just outside the door, and you can just be present here listening to my question. How many of you think you can just be like a blank check? When I say blank check, you don't have any numbers on it, you don't have any goal, you just like listening to me. How many of you think it's possible? Okay, difficult. Thank you so much for your honest answers. So thank you so much. Any other answers? Or maybe any other person would like to just unmute, because I think it's more of a very good discussion right now, because we are having this question of what is actually needed, or we don't need anything, right? If we don't need anything, then That should be something possible. Okay, is it possible? Great. Thank you so much, Sunanda, for that question, for the answer and questions. Okay. So any other answers? Okay. If there is no other
Yeah,
answer, yes, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Go
yeah,
ahead, madam.
I'm nothing. Actually, it's I feel like a blank check because it's nothing you inside. We can get more. எப்படி சொல்றது, இது வந்து ஒரு blank check மாதிரி தான் நீங்க சொல்றது. ஏன்னா நீங்க கொடுக்குற டேட்டா வந்து என்கிட்ட ஏற்கனவே இருக்கிறது எதுவுமே இல்லை அப்படின்னா நீங்க கொடுக்குறது புதுசா இருக்கிறது நான் எதா இருந்தாலும் அதில் ஃபில் பண்ணிக்கலாம். சம்திங் லைக் தட்.
Correct, sir. Correct. So I understand, like you were saying, நீங்க சொல்றது வந்து so it's possible சொல்றீங்க, கரெக்ட்டுங்களா? Okay. So Swadantira Devi,
Yeah, Devi.
ma'am.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
that's the aim of yoga, to,
Okay.
to make yourself blank. And that is the stage of dhyana, we call it. But it is very, very difficult and not possible for everybody.
Okay. Thank you so much, madam. So do you think, so my question back to you is, you clearly say like what is that blank check meaning or empty part, right? So like empty part. So but do you think it's possible when you actually do some work? For example, we are having this meeting, we are having a wonderful set of 19 participants. Do you think you can just get into that state when you work? Can I just put that question that way? Back to you, ma'am. You can just say just based on your experience or.
No, I don't
Okay.
understand.
Okay. So when you said like a blank check, you said you are referring to dhyana, right? The state of dhyana, and you mentioned it's not possible for everyone. Only few people can do it. Is that your answer, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. Can you get into the dhyana state now?
No, I am concentrating on your talk.
Okay.
So
Yes.
that is
Yes. Okay.
the
So
precursor of
yes,
dhyana,
correct.
the concentration or the
Mhm.
dharana aspect. Only
Okay.
when I leave this also, then I'll
Mm.
go into the blank area.
Okay. So for now, you think like the state of the blank area is something you need to devote your time, you need to just stay away from all of these meetings, is it?
No, not all the meanings. But
Okay.
when I'm in this,
Mhm.
I'm completely into this. Of course,
Excellent.
there are no other thoughts,
Okay.
but then
Okay.
I'm not blank.
Okay. So maybe I need to just say when I say blank, right? I'm just referring to the state of dhyana because you are just be in the same field. Because when I ask you some question, you are taking that question, you are trying to process that question, is it? So you don't have
Yes.
any other fields. You don't have any other like questions happening simultaneously. You just process my question. You don't have any
Yes.
other questions, correct? Okay, cool. So when this is happening,
So
we
something
have
like
some.
being at present. Sorry to interrupt. Something like you're being at present, not going to the future or not going to the past. Something like that.
Exactly. So this is like being at present. Exactly, you are right. But when I say microbes, right, when you be at present, you have some common microbes in you, and there are some common microbes in me. We will share some common microbes. There is no difference, even though you are present in UK, I am in like Singapore, some persons in US, some person in India. But for microbes, it's all the same. If you just analyze them, you'll just see like common microbes. So what I'm saying is, even though like we people like share different attributes, overall, we are not like different. So these can be mapped into like technologies like microbes. You can just like maybe you can just share.
Can you redo the statement? What you said right now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So right now, so a few people, you stay like we live like different places, right? We think like we have some different roles in the own life. Yes, it is true. But are we actually different? So that is my question. So are we actually different, but my answer is we are not like different when you do at the microscopic level, when you see the microbes in you and when you see the microbes in me at this moment, because we come to the area of living at present. Living at present means you don't have anything like other hanging fruits. You just have like one fruit, which is living at the present, right? So when you analyze your microbes and when you analyze my microbes at this stage, you will see the function of those microbes. It's very focused. You will see a very different attribution of microbes. So I'm saying, even though overall we think we are different, as Magarishi said, everything you can actually see it like same. And when you just break it into parts, when you just do it like minor cuts, right? Very small pieces, when you just go in detail, you will just see the same thing blossoming, which is, you can just say it is an empty pot, or you can just say it's a blank check, or you can also say it's a state of like pure consciousness, right? So everything is same. So that is my overall, I would like, it's hypothesis maybe, because we are still in the process of reaching that stage. But more questions are welcome. Yeah.
We can improve this concept a little bit more, getting into more microbial. I agree with your thought that human beings share lots of common microbes. There is no doubt in it. But as a doctor myself, and also a person who got heavily involved in the microbiology, in the cancer and various food and diabetic and health related concepts, there are differences in microbes between the people. That's why person A gets diabetes, person B gets cervical cancer, person C gets lung cancer, person D gets dementia. There are
Yes, you are right.
different type of microbes. I
Yes,
agree
you're
with
right.
your point. Maybe at one point, if everybody is in a very calm state, maybe a similar group of microbes are activated. But
Yes,
for
yes.
this kind of unition or the common ground, we can go
Okay.
even beyond microbe. What microbes are made up of? They are all made up of like cell wall, nucleus, cytoplasm, etc. What
Yes, yes,
those are made up of? Carbon, nitrogen. What those are made up of? Protons, electrons. What those are made up of? Quarks.
yes,
What those are made up of? Empty space. That empty space is
yes,
equivalent to what space was there in the absolute space before Big Bang or in the black hole. So in that way,
yes.
if you go a little bit more inner, you will really end up in a very common playing ground or in the real
Yes.
blank check, I'll say.
Yes, sir. You are absolutely right, sir. So my overall point is like we are going in deeper, as you said, when you just travel from microbes, then all the way to cell walls, like all the carbon, nitrogen, then at atomic level, then you just go deeper like nothing, like a blank, right? So I'm saying, can we get into that state like now? So the question is, can we go to that state when we are doing overall this analysis, right? So this is like I would say it's like a dissection or maybe like multiple sections of these.
Mm.
And when you also say like people, when they suffer from cancer or different ailments, their overall microbes in their system, it's also different. You are right, sir. But can we alter these microbes which are like against their own system? Can we alter this using meditative practices? Answer is yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
That
Exactly.
is the scientific basis of meditation. If
Exactly.
meditation
Exactly.
works on a
Yes.
person, it is only
Mhm.
via the changing of the microbial flora and fauna. Absolutely.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, sir. Exactly. So when you have these like different patterns happening, when you have like microbes happening, like acting as a media to transfer something bad to good. So when I say bad, just don't mistake me. Like I'm tagging something as bad, but just for layman's perspective. So we
Yeah.
have some microbes which is supplied to some field. For example, when you have meditation, right? So microbes in the field of meditation, they do some favor for the host. When I say host, it's for the human being, right? So it is doing some favor, correct?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yes, so these microbes, they can also do some wonderful aspects like outside the system, apart from the human body. They can also bringing like a lot of different changes like outside. For example, like waste to something precious, right? So these microbes have a very long history since the time universe has begun until the stage like happening right now. So everything has been changing continuously, but microbes is also like traveling with us. So the overall thing, what I'm doing at my scale is we're using microbes to do something from waste, so something precious. And Maharishi principles, right? It also transforms overall from something, I wouldn't say it's a waste,
Vethathirri
but
Ayya, before we
go
go
ahead.
too far, I just wanted to know whether microbes has some frequency. Is there any frequency that certain microbes that you have mentioned many names, many different microbes? So each microbes has some certain frequency that it will react like that. So you are telling the concept of meditation that we can, if the person has Anandaya brought to the point that not everybody in the same state of body, even though mentally
Yes.
we all can be the blank check, the body wise, it will be varied person to person, right?
Ye-
How
Yes, you
they're
are
a
right.
healthy way, right? So
Yes.
with that concept, with the meditation, if the person who is unhealthy, if we wanted to make that person to get healthy with the person who is meditating, there's a neurotransmitter from mental frequency we can make. In that
Mm-hmm.
way, how the microbes are helping compared to neurotransmitter or waves we call biomagnetism, universal magnetism. In that way, how microbiomes acting.
Yes.
Thank you, Aya.
Yes. Thank you so much again. So when you have like microbes, for example, you said like a person who meditates and a person who don't meditate, right? Let's say they sit beside each other, or when they interact. When they interact, the microbes is also interacting. People will have like a different thought, but just based on my um, like overall experience, right? I'm seeing microbes as a lens. So the microbes present within you who meditates and the present in other person who don't meditate, they're also interacting but at a very different level. Whether it can do the transformation in other person, it depends on how the microbes, right? At the same time, how well your inner space. So that's the area. It's still like I think it's evolving. Like when you say like consciousness, right? So the consciousness is like mapped to the microbial world within you, and the consciousness in other person in their own world, right? So these two, when they interact, what happens? I think it's still an area of research. Needs to be done, but I see like a lot of potential. There is transaction happening because when we get initiated or when we get into a lot of practices, we see those transformation, right? So microbes can also sense. We have this quorum sensing. They can communicate. They can form like a mini family. Like we also have a concept of biofilm, which can actually treat like dirty water into pure water. So they can form like a family. They can actually act together. So when they live like different conditions, they train the other microbes. So the training happens when you have like different host systems. So the answer to your question is yes, it's definitely like possible.
Can I add?
Excellent. Yeah. But
Can I add?
potentiality
To
that
this?
you are bringing, yeah, it's really great. More.
Yeah. Can I add to Vijayalakshmi Amma's point from the microbiology or the medical side of it? Okay.
Yes, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So I will tell a simple example. One of the best vegetable in the world is, of course, it can be argued, example is a broccoli. Okay. If somebody has to take broccoli, it's available now in India also, and especially in the Western world. Initially, eating broccoli, not too much cooked, little bit maybe just steamed to the crunchiness without much oil or masala or even extra salt, etc. It's very difficult. Why it is very difficult is, it's not that that person is not happy in taking the broccoli. It is also that person's gut microbiome is not used to broccoli. If the person just bites the bullet and takes a portion of broccoli steamed crunchy like a medicine for 1 month, Then onwards, he will not feel any bad in taking broccoli. In fact, he will start liking broccoli. The reason is when you feed your microbiome in the tummy with a specific strain of food, it may be a good food like broccoli, it may be a worst food like alcohol, it may be a waste food like beef meat or something like that. It could be anything. That particular strain of bacteria will go on propagate, and that will become a dominant occupying one. So why after 1 month, the person, when he sees the portion of broccoli to eat, he is not feeling that kind of avertness, kind of bad feeling. He's happy to have it. The same principle can happen even with the human beings. When somebody, maybe just for a very, very bad example, creates a kind of a, anxiety or kind of enmity towards a neighbor, person X, but when he starts practicing Vethathiri's meditation, Varga Malamudan principles, and able to tell Varga Malamudan by heart to the person, either physically, directly by opening the mouth, or at least by the thinking, that enmity will come down because of the same principle of good microbiome getting overgrown into the bad microbiome areas. That's my medical sort of answer. Thank you.
Oh, excellent, sir. I completely agree with it, sir. Thank you for the analogy. I think it's a great example.
Sir, may I just ask a question, or just share what like it's more of a question. Dr. Ananda, you have in your previous presentation on astrobiology, you had mentioned how the potential gradient and the redox reactions led to the first organism in the ocean Earth near the vents, hydrothermal vents. So the same organism, the same way they generate energy is what probably our mitochondria are, right? This is what I read after your presentation was done, that
Exactly.
our mitochondria function exactly in the same way how the first organism which thrived or which came up in the ocean bed. So this is one thing, that we are still continuing. We are a process. We are not like being. We are not thing. We are a process where everything is happening. And these microorganisms, right from single cell, we are, because of those, we may not be having. In fact, they are not only microorganisms. They have developed into very sophisticated organelles in our system itself. So we are from microorganisms itself. So it's not that they are separate and we are separate. We are in continuity of the same thing. This is first one point. Second point is that microorganisms are not only in our gut, or I feel even our skin, or every organ. Skin probably has the maximum microorganisms, and like our hands, even though we keep washing, but within a moment, the bacteria or other microorganisms, they come up. So even when I'm breathing and there are people around, so we are breathing the same air. I'm exhaling some air and the other person is nearby, even though we are in a fresh thing, but we are exchanging uh, gases in that way, and also in that process inhaling and exhaling the microorganisms. So we are always there. We are not in continuity and in the presence of all these organisms, and we are a process. So this is what is my understanding, that when I am able to visualize it, that we are all connected, whether it is microorganism or other people, through, as you mentioned, the space, and then the ripples, and then the particles. So when we go to that level, we don't see microorganisms, we do not see cells, we do not see human beings. We only see the ripple in one field of consciousness. We are only ripples, just moving here and there. And as a human being, I am a concentrated mass of ripple, which is seen as as Manisha. With similarly, there is another. Even this phone is a concentrated mass of ripple, seen as a inanimate thing. So everything is eventually one only, which is what Vethathirium or other masters have spoken, and which we can experience if we are in the zone. We do not have to close our eyes and meditate. If we first of all, if I make it a point in the morning itself, okay, this is how I am going to function in the day, where I see everybody as mass, as ripples of the same field, then there is no separation. We are just waves in the same ocean. So as you were mentioning, do we need to meditate, or can we be totally attentive? So I think we can be, but it is again a practice. So I think I spoke too many things, but Dr. Ananda or sir, if you can just comment on this.
Manisha, what you said is absolutely correct. The only difference I will make is everybody is interconnected, man, plant, trees, everything. That's why you will have a different meditative experience if you go to a park or if you go to a nice place with good trees compared to sitting in a concrete building. So yeah, but the only difference between the organic and inorganic is all the organic things like microbiome, bacteria, fungus, human being, plants, they have its own natural pranic energy. While the mobile phone example, what you said, inorganic one, it has no pranic energy. That's why if you surround yourself with lots of inorganic things like built concrete and heavy doors and chairs and everything, the house will become a very inorganic one. If you have a real plant inside with a real soil, that soil will have millions and millions of microbiome. And if that indoor plant, if you are watering and nurturing with the Vardavalamudan slogan every day, that changes the whole inorganic room into an organic atmosphere for meditating. That's the only thing. The only inorganic thing which has got some pranic energy is statues in the temples or something like that, where people do the pranic manifestation and make that prana into the inorganic one, which is a kind of a different discussion. I'm bringing that so that people can differentiate the pranic energy in inorganic and organic material. I'm very much appreciative for the speaker today, Vedantri, because he is trying to create organic protein using the organic material like bacteria from the waste product, rather than just calculating or using the AI to find the formula of the protein and mixing carbon and nitrogen and producing it in industry, which is quite dangerous. And all the best with your future ambitions, Vedantri.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think it's a very great explanation, and whichever the examples you gave in terms of organic, inorganic, and the ma'am actually just coming back to your I think it's a great, I would say it's a great speech because you just brought in like different aspects. Ultimately, you just mentioned like the microbes traveling with us. You also tried to connect the dots from the previous speaker because I wasn't there for the last meeting, but still I can see everything now, like whatever happened in the last meeting on astrobiology, which is also one of my core interests during my current research. I haven't spoken on that, but still, everything as you said, we're all like connected in different ways. But why am I saying like what is my overall maybe like, aspiration and everything, right? We have like generations, people living in different time zones, right? And we have like our kids, and maybe we are all in the different age groups also. But I would like to share like miracles. You would have experienced a lot of miracles in your own life because all of these practices in your day-to-day life, from let's say you do all of these meditative techniques, right? Then okay, more slides. Okay. Yes, I have like few more, but I think we covered some of them. Just to finish this part. So coming back to the thing which I just said, there are miracles happening, right? But we need the miracles to happen in our day-to-day life with our own, maybe like siblings, or it can be with our kids and everything. I would like to just share like one incident. Maybe you can just relate with some of your own personal experiences. So when I transitioned from high school to IIT, it's one of the very toughest examinations, sir. Indian Institute of Technology's IIT examinations. And it was a very challenging paper because I would say I was in a batch when they changed all the template. So who were the students who came with me for the IIT like 6 hours intern examination, right? So most of them, they couldn't actually crack when we come from the same batch, I'm saying. But what I actually did at that stage when I was just 16, 17 years old, because you can just see from my name, because I just like do very simple things like reciting, like Arutpe Ratal, right? We Arutkap, we just see Maharishi. I just see Maharishi. That's it. I just see Maharishi before going to school, all the way maybe like 3 years, 4 years, right? Before going to school. I just did that practice, right? Uh, like my parents were doing that when they were like following and everything. So I got that inspiration. I was like doing continuously, and how that helped me during the IIT examination. So that's what I want to tell you now. So this is very interesting, maybe because you have your own kids studying different stages, but it just happened to me. What happened is when I saw the paper, I can easily see it was like very difficult questions which we cannot solve in just 1 minute. You can just think of one question that has to be solved in like 30 to 45 seconds when you have to crack toughest examinations like IIT in India, right? But I'm just like saying you what exactly happened. So I know this cannot be solved in just 35, 40 seconds. So what I did is I just surrendered that question. I don't know like what is the meaning of surrender at that stage, but still I know Maharishi is something like acting, right? So he's like everywhere. So I just put that question in the lap of a master, in that case, like Maharishi. So I know like everything is same as ma'am said. Everyone is connected. So the wisdom or the great experiences Maharishi had, you can also have it right now. So I know when I was writing that IIT examination, I know everything can be said from Maharishi. I don't know where is he at that time, but I know he's going to tell me in his own language, right? So at that particular stage, what I did is I just surrendered all the questions to the lap of Maharishi, and I can just see things like happening through me. I won't say it was me who cracked the examination. It wasn't me who actually did like a lot of hard work and everything. Yes, I did the hard work for different set of questions, but the question I actually saw in the examination is very different. It's very challenging. So what I did, simple thing is I just gave it to him, and the flower actually blossomed in its own way. So I was getting a lot of ideas. I was just cracking things and everything. So if I say this to like a non-meditative practitioner, right, or different field person, yes, obviously they have their own comments, they will argue, but I'm just saying this in a very closed, safe space because you all understand like own miracles happening. So, and I was like very grateful. I still do not know, but I was like applying it in different stages of my life. It's still happening. I was able to complete my PhD in 2.5 years. Then I was like publishing papers, and people always say, okay, you have like a lot of different things happening in your life, but I always try to map to my inner consciousness where the surrender is the key. So you will have your own things. Maybe one of you can just share because I don't have much slides. And as organizers, I think you will have a time control as well. But I was thinking this like worth sharing because I don't know like what's happening in terms of the microbial level, right? And as well as like other things. But the major objective as a R&D, as a scientist, I think there are different aspects you can actually take it to the day-to-day challenging life. The world is like evolving. Everything is very competitive, right? So I cannot just like meditate. I cannot just like involve. I have to involve in a lot of different things. So we need to have these advanced techniques of Maharishi. We have to go into this organic, inorganic thing because as Sar was saying, I need to deal with the waste. I cannot just avoid the waste, right? So some of the key aspects in my doctoral research, I need to just be open doors. I need to be a blank check. I just have to just have good sleep, surrender to Maharishi the whole night. The next day morning, I just have to write my thesis. So theses have all of different ideas. And where are these ideas come from? Yes, of course, they came through me, but it's not me. So where is it coming from? Yes, I know for sure it's like coming from the universal thing. But how do we take it, this precious thing, to more people? That is for research. So that's a very small sharing from me. Maybe you will have some comments, sir, because I see a lot of experienced people from the audience. Yes.
That's well put regarding the surrender. Again, if you go by Vedantrian principles, surrender and miracles are science behind it. In fact, I can say there is nothing like miracle. if you people believe that miracle is something which is beyond science and can't explain by science, in Tamil the word is adrishtam. Drishtam means seeing, adrishtam means we are seeing something happening, but we don't know what is the reason. That is adrishtam. Makes the drishtam as a opposite word, adrishtam. So how we can explain surrender and why surrender miracles worked especially lively in your job, in your life, maybe IIT entrance exam or thesis submission is, if you see the historical movies or maybe the stories, a good rishi who is good in meditation will be a very puny, simple person in a saffron cloth, not even having a stick as a equipment or instrument. Like for example, Buddha you can take, but the enemy is a person with 1500 troops and so much of armamentarium, etc. What is happening is the yogi has got a very high potential, a kind of 2 or 3 units of goodness, while the enemy has got like thousands and thousands of low potential bad units. That's how it works. When we try to surrender, what's happening is, or by meditation or by giving everything to the feet of Maharishi, which Maharishi himself won't agree with that. But I'm taking, for example, if somebody in Bhakti Marga, they can take it like, I'm surrendering everything to my God, something like that. What is happening is our mind wave frequency get lowered from beta to alpha, alpha to delta, which we have discussed plenty of time. At the low mind wave frequencies, the low potential multiple powerful bad agents wipe out, die out. That's why once you surrender, your anxiety relieves, your blood pressure comes down, you feel so light. But that single or smaller amount of units with very high potential goodness will still there. The surrendering gives you that clarity, removes your anxiety, and makes you to use that your own potential to work at its best. Yes, there is a problem in IIT entrance exam. It has to be solved within 1 minute, which, for example, you can't do. The reason a person can't do is because the problem can be solved in 40 seconds, but when there is a play between the anxiety of doing it correctly and anxiousness of doing it wrongly, it takes more than a minute. That's where the person fails. When we remove the anxiety by Maharishi's principles, meditation, etc., and then the mind will be in a flow state. In the flow state, there is no antagonist to fight against the high potential unit, and the high potential unit just delivers. And of course, we can explain it by other things like karma theory, etc., which will take you outside the thing. But since you mentioned the surrender word, surrender and miracles are not miracles. There is an absolute science behind it.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Again, I think it's just the same word, but different experience. But thank you so much for your detailed explanation. Thank you, sir.
Vethathirri, வாழ்க வளமுடன். Do we have more slides?
I think we can, if we have more time, I can. But how much time are we left, ma'am?
15 minutes.
Okay, sure. Maybe I just proceed with the slides. Maybe like I think it should be like a couple of slides. Then we can have like more questions by turning off the presentation. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks. Okay. So I think this is some of the things we already discussed as creating like waste. Because my research is on focusing on waste, whether we can use the waste to produce whatever the things we need for today, for like proteins, also like biofuels, other valuable products like bioplastics and everything. So all of these I'm just embedding through the principles of, we call this as circular bioeconomy, where we just treat the waste generated from one industry, then we just put again in the same loop. So in that way, we can just make sure there is no like waste coming out, and everything can be treated, everything can be make use for the other industries. Right. So now I'm just trying to understand, or maybe in the years to come, I'm still in a very initial phase of how to put everything into research, because we need some people working as microbiologists, or we need some people working in the field of, let's say, like yogic practices, right? So if they come together, if they act, maybe the research is still going on, or maybe it's like ongoing. But in my case, I'm completely new to this field, but still I'm trying to, maybe through after this meeting, we get some connection and can collaborate from different places, right? So connecting to the Vethathirri principles, as Sar was saying also, we don't see these as like miracles, right? When people surrender or when people do practices, we have all of these transformations happening. So overall, for example, when you transform, it's just like a transformation for the waste also. So I'm trying to map it to a different level. So even though the sciences people think is different, but still in terms of overall biotransformation, we create some useful product from the waste, but we don't see it as a waste anymore. We just think as like an intermediate mediating step. Okay, so this is also something we covered before, but we think like AI is like doing a lot of different aspects, and we also have some people thinking whether it can do some backfiring, right? So people can be, because previously as like a youngster, when we don't have these like AI, different modern technologies, but I also see there is like an alarming state where people get into more of these things and they get bored in life. So like what's more, like what is more exciting, right? But still, I think one way of taking it forward is through the area of microbial intelligence. We can actually, your microbes, because when you meditate, your microbes transform. So all of these things we have to, as a scientist, I just feel there is a need to make it more in terms of like policies and everything, right? So that is kind of a vision I'm envisioning for the future. Okay. So just to sum up some of these aspects we already like discussed, but I would just take you back to the same question, because I know like people have like different things and different aspects. It's always good when we have like a small group, right? For example, we have like 18 participants. It's also my first time. I would love participating in all the next week and love to share some of my experiences also. But the other question I have to you all is, you come from different aspects, right? And maybe we connect with different people. You meet like different people day-to-day life. How do we actually take it forward? For example, you pass the message of what we do in Vedath Magarishi, right? You also you just share your experiences. You share your knowledge, or maybe you can just share and you try to bring in like more people, right? And I always think, whether is it like people who actually you bring in, right? And they actually help you furthermore. And it's just like a very it's a very consecutive step. For example, you may introduce them to principles, but later they will help you for something else, right? So it's a very different connection. If you have something to share on that, just feel free to share. But this is technically my last slide, and we can have more discussions maybe after this. I think we're still left with other 10 minutes. Right?
Yes, yeah. Yes, we have 10 more minutes. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I can stop sharing. Maybe we can just discuss more.
What is the exact AI behind your project? Is it helping to speed up the like a molecular shape, or finding the correct organism, or writing an algorithm? What is the AI? How AI steps in?
Okay. So right now we have this challenge of how do we increase the productivity so we can get into the market stage. So let's say we have like a lot of different wastewaters. So the wastewaters have a lot of complexities, sir. So we are thinking how artificial intelligence can solve that complexity, because microbes, they need like simple compounds, so they can just process fast, but they can also act in complex molecules. So we're thinking as AI whether they can break down these complexities, and they can train our system in such a way we can get the best yield, so they can match with the other, I would say, non-sustainable sources for the fish feed or something. So that is my application part. Yes.
And your source, you said, is like wastewater from washing the soya bean, something like that. But it's wastewater ultimately, like any wastewater, like from the hotel, something like that.
Yes, sir. It's from the industries. Yeah, it's actually from the food industry. It's not from the hotel, but it's actually from, like, you can just think of like a vegetable industries.
Because what is important is we need to focus on what's going in and what's coming out. If
Yes.
what's going in has got impurities, it's an extra step to clear the impurities. And sometimes whatever clearing you do with microbe, the outcome will be more of like a inorganic chemicals rather than the organic pranic product. That's the main difference.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So it has some challenging parts, but when we do this biotransformation, our objective is very laser focused. We just train the microorganisms that can favor the application. So we don't see any like harmful microorganism using the approach.
I will explain a small thing which will really help you to think in slightly a different manner.
Sure, sir.
Say, for example, in Japan, we may have heard about this kind of story maybe. In Japan, there is a big tuna cultivation, for example. And when they are doing this tuna cultivation, the fish is grown in a kind of a controlled open water. And then when the tuna fish is one of the best taste, something like that, and it's very well sold, very high priced, marked as best quality, etc., etc. And suddenly, in a year, they found that the meat quality or the taste is not good and not meant good in the international market. The reason they found is there is a kind of a shrimp or some other smaller organism in that particular location which is absent. So the tuna is not struggling, running in the sense like swimming fast and catching that particular organism and then eating it. When tuna is grown in a natural environment where it can really needs to fight with the ecological system and hunt for its food, automatically its microbe is much better. It's equivalent to a person who is doing the proper strength training, resistant exercise, fasting, running, marathon, stretching, etc. The microbes is better compared to a tuna, which is grown in a controlled tank with artificial lights and maybe switching on and off to mimic the day sunlight, and then fed by the products which you are researching on. It will look good at present. You may get good productivity, but ultimately the quality of that particular meat is not as good as the naturally grown one. And when people feed on that, they will be having a kind of a subdued microbiome. So microbiomes are not used to stress, and that will result in again a kind of like a tamasic kind of food, and the food quality won't be good. So I know it's quite difficult for you to implement these yogic principles directly into the translational science and into your research. But if you keep these things in your back of your mind, ultimately you will have a very good career and you won't feel bad that, oh my God, knowingly or unknowingly, I have done a very good work of producing this large quantity of fish feed with waste product. I've created an ecological balance, but that particular food product is not good enough. And people who ate that kind of fish or ended up having maybe a disease or obesity or something like that. So you should be able to think in this angle also since you are in Vethathirri.
Thank you so much, sir. I think it's a very valid point, sir. So I think the upcoming area of work which I will focus, or which I'll like currently focusing, is just focusing on all of these things at the back of the mind. I think as a researcher, I need to acknowledge it's like a work from like different people, right? Also bringing like different experts into this field. It's very challenging to bring all of these different aspects, but it's a very must thing, whichever you said. I think we should have like a balance, and ultimately it's going to enter the real market, and we have like different changes happening at different stages. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Vethathirri, I have a very basic question. Like, you're from Tamil Nadu, right? So, and the product which you are making is, what I understand is to increase the biome in human beings. I'm assuming this to increase the microbial activity in the human being. But I also know that there are some traditional food in Tamil Nadu which naturally increase. And I mean, that's also kind of a waste, as in they don't waste the rice, for example. They soak it in the water and keep it in mud pot and have it in the morning. And without any very AI backed science, I think this is a very traditional wisdom and that helps to increase the gut biome. So I'm just wondering, what was the need for this product when we have a traditional wisdom already in our, in our culture, and not in our, no, not only in Tamil Nadu, at least in India, I know, and I know other places also in Japan or in China, somewhere or the other, the idea of fermented food has been there. So what made you go into this field of making a product like that?
Thank you so much. So my motivation, right, for all of these different things. So we have like a waste generated at different levels, and we have like a need for the market, right? So when I say we can do these micro-based food products, it's not very new. We already have like a lot of different micro-based food products in in the market actually. So the novel thing, or I would say, so there is a very little thing on the waste generated from the market, right? So we have our traditional wisdom. I completely agree with it. Because I'm sure like some of you or most of you know about like a haritaki powder, right? So we have this we call like kadukai or haritaki powder. So when you take that like every day, like based on our ancestors or based on our traditional wisdom, it actually keeps you more maybe like energetic because it cleanses your system. And also people also get, because some of my own like friends back in India, they also feel like a reverse age, they become more young. So all of these different things are happening. What I'm thinking as like a scientist who are like, we have our own things, but still in the research community there is a kind of a resistance, as well as we also have people who welcome it. So when you say, is that actually, when you ask, is there anything new you are doing? I think we don't do anything new, right? Because everything is there. So, but still we create value out of it. So whatever I'm doing is I see there is a scope where we can do these waste degradation or waste transformation. We have the traditional wisdom, but is it reaching a lot of different people? Can we get it like different aspects? AI is going to help in some way, but can it dominate? I think it's no. It cannot dominate because we need some actual like working principles, which is like working like many years, right? Our traditional thoughts, our traditional wisdom, all of these yogic principles. So they are like life, which is like natural, like consciousness flowing, right? So these things are very much needed to take those things for different billions of people, which is already happening, but I'm just like playing like maybe like a very minuscule level of role. That's what I think. It's a very challenging question which you asked, but it's a great question, ma'am. Thank you.
No, because why I'm asking is not to, I'm not questioning you. I'm just questioning the idea of, like, for example, in India, even for that matter, yoga, asanas, hatha yoga, or pranayams, we all in India we have been practicing it. But when it goes to the Western world, and then it becomes a breath work, or they patent it, and then it comes to India, we then start valuing it. Oh, because it has been validated by, we have that mentality, right? So we then value it more because it has come from outside. So my thing was, when we already have the wisdom, why don't we take it and we, instead of the Western world doing it, we do it ourselves. As you mentioned, Haritaki. Similarly, there is a herb called Manathakali, which it has a potent chemical for liver cancer treatment, which the FDA has approved in USA to do further research. But when it will come from USA, then people will start taking Manthakali for their liver issues. But when it is in India, we do not really value it. So you being an Indian, you being Vethathirri, and I mean, just a suggestion, not that I'm questioning your path, that we have so much within our ancient wisdom that we can take things and validate and make it scientifically from our own space. We do not need anybody else to tell us that how it is. So that is the thought I had, but I'm sorry if
Yes, yes.
it was very
No,
challenging.
I think it's a very acknowledging point, ma'am. So I completely agree with you. So I don't have any like second question on whatever you said. So we have like everything, but only thing is I think as you said, when something comes from outside, people actually value it, and when it is like just growing in your own ground, right? They can just question, oh, it's like growing, it's just happening in my own place, but still they have like resistance. But whatever you said, it's completely true. We don't need anyone to tell us like, okay, you do this, you get that, but everything is like embedded, and everyone we have all the wisdom with us. So I agree with you.
Thank you so much for I'm listening to me, but thank you so much.
வாழ்க வளமுடன் ஐயா.
வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Dr. Vethathirri Ramanujam Srinivasan, you have given a wonderful presentation, and it was really great to learn this more about microbes and the applications and what does it in our health and body health and all. I'm really proud of you to learn that you're from IIT Madras, where I happened to work many years back from 1965 to 79, 15 years in the electrical engineering field. I'm really proud of your contribution and your Ph.D. work and all. I really wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I think it's a blessing to just hear from each and one of you. I'm very happy to be here, and now I'm like a transitioning from Singapore, and if there is some wonderful opportunities to work in India, so I would like to take it forward as like Manisha ma'am and everyone's like said, we have like a lot of things in India. So whole things come from India, right? So hopefully I can take like whatever I learned all of these years, transition, collaborate with different people. So I will be happy to reach out to you, because since I haven't seen you in person, or maybe I will participate in more meetings in the upcoming weeks as well. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You may kindly leave your phone number. Maybe we can contact later on. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure. I will just share in the chat, sir.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Varga Valamudan. Yeah, this is Prasad here. Yeah, a good attempt and a good way of trying to see how you want to take it forward in terms of Vedatrium science and your own learnings and your journey so far. Having said that, I'm going to give you three things. I mean, it might be a comment or it might be my learning from your presentation and the interaction which I heard for the past 1 hour, or you can just think about these three things. First thing I would like you to think about is, what is the difference between an invention and a discovery? Okay. So that's number one. And number two, what I would like you to think about, I realize you're in the biotransformation space and what you're doing, and you're probably in the lab scale or probably in the later stage, or probably going to be on that, and you need to scale it up further. So we've done some. I had the opportunity to work with some wonderful people like a decade ago in the space. Having said that, when you're trying to scale up, I want you to think about the uniformity of parameters you're going to bring it together, which is going to be very important. When I say uniformity, you need to cut the variables. When you need to cut the variables, it can be a multiple of different variables which you need to keep track of. Now, that is where AI can probably enhance your speed or probably scope, if not speed. Okay. So that's the second thing I would like you to think about. I don't have the answers for you, but I'm just putting the thoughts in you. And the third thing is coming back to switch, and a very wonderful attempt of trying to synchronize with Vedatrium, and God bless you for that. Having said that, in terms of Vedatrium, I want you to just think about oneness. Just think about oneness. And if you can think of oneness from the Vedatrium standpoint of things, and then you can think of your scale up in terms of that oneness, besides the energy, besides the parameters and all that we talked about, all that you might know better. it might give you a lot more insights, and probably you can come and give us a presentation where I'll get educated in a probably couple of years later. Having said that, wonderful presentation. God bless you. Please continue your service and also your scientific journey. All the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It's again a very very useful, and I'm very much grateful for your words. Thank you so much.
So Sandra Devi Amma. Rajamohanaya, your comments. Guruya. Arunakaranaya. Janakramaya. Any comments, feedback?
Karthikeyan, sir.
I'm learner. I'm collecting things. Thank you. Wonderful presentation. Very lucid presentation. Thank you.
This is Nanda from Chennai. Thank you so much, Vethathirri sir. It was very interesting. For a very long time, I've attended this class. I always wanted to attend. Actually, when you were talking about this microbes, sorry, my throat is so bad. I was just wondering, how are these microbes going to help in Vethathiriyam? Then, when I was just thinking about it, then there comes the answer from Dr. Anand, who was saying that when you go inside, microbes, and you go inside, and then you go deeper, then you go to the particle. That's how he put it. I was just asking myself, I was just going to ask the question to you, and there comes the answer from Dr. Anand. Then I wanted to ask something, and then Manisha, she said. So I was suddenly thinking, yes, now when we focus, yes, Dr. Anand is in UK, I know Manisha must be somewhere, I am in Chennai. We're all connected here, and somehow we are able to get the answers one by one. So when you were telling me that you have to be a blank check, and I was wondering, what is this blank check he was talking about? Then it came the answer, okay, like an empty spot. When you can't have a past, you can't have any past thoughts or something or the future, but be in the present and just absorb what you're talking. That's how we put it. And then Dr. Swatantra Devi ma'am said that. So it was so interesting that we were I was trying to get the answer, and there comes the answer through somebody else. And thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for everyone. Thank you. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think it also happened to me. So what are the ideas? It just like flowered from different people, Dr. Anand, and maybe a lot of different people. So it's a great discussion. Without you all, I think it would have not happened. So grateful. Thank you so much. Well done.
If no other comments, shall we close the session? Anyone has any other comments? Julia ma'am?
Yes,
Sorry. Namaste.
Yes, ma'am.
No, I think I listen my name, but I joined late, but appreciate was very interesting subject, and also I agree completely with Manisha because really the wisdom and knowledge and tradition, culture in India, there is no in any country. And then we need to try to bring the light from India to West, to West, to the, and not to bring from USA everything. It's value also, but really, I think today the mission, the work, what we need to do is to bring the light from India to West. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I also have a comment from Manisha ma'am.
Thank you, Lakshmi. It was a wonderful presentation. You explained how microbiology and Vethathirri and IIT and interlinked, and your research and converting the waste product to the useful product is a very nice presentation. We can think about oneness from oneness to our Vethathirri say living dust particles, from living dust particles to energy particles. Then you come to the microbiology. So inorganic materials to organisms. So before microbiology, what was there? As Ananda has also told that inorganic material and this one. So that part can be further explored. So your transformation from waste product to a good product. It's wonderful research you are doing it. You please continue your research. We are happy to note also. Your presentation was very good. Thank you very much for this. Bye for the day.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your words, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other
Okay, thank you.
comments?
Valga Valamudan.
Yeah, we'll conclude now. We are 13 minutes extra already. We'll conclude, and I will add Vethathirri Ayya in the WhatsApp group if he likes. Hope you are
Sure,
not.
sure. Please go ahead. Thank you. I'm very grateful for this group. It's a very enlightening group. Right now I'm in India for a short holiday trip, but I think it's one of the best things I did so far after visiting India. Now it's a wonderful group to get involved. So please add me. I will contribute to the best I can.
This is a group we are trying to, not broader way, not more depth. We are getting into more depth of subjects. Yeah. So, Valga Valamudan.
Yeah, again, I personally thank you on your off day, and I mean it's easy for us in US where it's morning 10 o'clock, but yeah, I mean especially for you, and when you go to Singapore, it's going to be midnight for you to attend this session. Thank you very much for bringing a lot of insight around microbial. So I'm apart from Vethathirri, I personally want your experiment to succeed because there's so many ground pollution happening because of just washing stuff. And if your groundbreaking research succeeds, you probably may save the world from groundwater pollution as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your words.
Of course, all the best to your research and your definitely, I'm sure it is going to help India. We really need that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much again. Thank you.
Thank you.
All well.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for the valuable comments, and thank you so much. Thank you so much, Vethathirri Ayya, for the wonderful topic that you brought to the discussion today. We missed Dr. M.B.R. Ayya, and he was trying to connect for a long time. Internet has some problem in his side, so we just provide him recording, and we will get his feedback also. So with that being said, we will conclude today's session.
Thank you.
With the world blessings. May the world be blessed with plenty of rain. The farmers work to produce an abundance of grain. Let practitioners of all prosper, flourish, and grow, and culture progress through the need to share and grow. Let the rulers be beyond feelings of anger or fear. Illiteracy, poverty, and all evils made to disappear. Let the true lamp of knowledge burn steady and bright. Our sense of duty guide us along paths always right. உலகமெல்லாம் பருவமழை ஒத்தபடி பெய்யட்டும், உழவரெல்லாம் தானியத்தை ஒப்புடனே பெருக்கட்டும், பல தொழில்கள் புரிகின்ற பாட்டாளி உயரட்டும், பகுத்துணர்வில் தொகுத்துணர்வு பண்பாட்டை உயர்த்தட்டும், கலகங்கள் போட்டி பகை கடந்தாற்றி நடக்கட்டும், கல்லாமை கடன் வறுமை களங்கங்கள் மறையட்டும், நல வாழ்வை அளிக்கும் மெய் ஞான ஒளி வீசட்டும், நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும், நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும். நம் கடமை அறவாழ்வின் நாட்டத்தே சிறக்கட்டும். வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வையகம், வாழ்க வளமுடன். Thank you all. வாழ்க வளமுடன்.